This is Daniel from On the Record Boxing. I'm delighted and honored to be joined by Gustavo Olivieri, the president of the World Boxing Organization. Mr. Olivieri, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
Daniel, how are you, my man? All good. How about yourself? Everything good over there? Where are you based at? In the UK?
Yeah, in the UK. It's very warm as of right now. I'm but humbled, blessed for the opportunity for you coming on. And yeah, obviously there's a lot of traction going on within the sport right now. And like I say, honored and blessed to just chop it up with you and have the time.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for considering me.
No, thank you very much. So before we get into the nitty-gritty in terms of big names and titles, how would you describe the WBO's current role in terms of the landscape of the sport as of right now, and just compared to other sanctioning bodies?
I think the WBO has its reputation as a sanctioning body. It's one of the big four internationally recognized sanctioning body. The WBO's characterizes by its credibility, integrity, honesty, legitimacy, and fairness on its decision-making process, its rulings, determinations, the way it conducts its businesses with the promoters, the way it supports the fighters, the social initiatives, projects, and programs that benefit of the boxers. So I think the WBO, all around, it's with respect to the other sanctioning bodies, is by far the most prestigious one, and it also includes its membership. If you check the credentials, professional and personal merits of our members, you would surely be impressed of the background and trajectory of our members as a sanctioning body as a whole.
No, absolutely. And do you see any potential way where the WBO could improve potential transparency or global outreach of the sport into various different areas?
Yeah, we're currently working that regard. For example, I've been promoting a pitch called the New Era, which basically seeks to enhance transparency through social media, different media outlets, as to publicizing all of our rulings, determinations, letters, ratings, decision-making process, because I think it is critical that the general public, the media, the fighters, know what's going on and have direct access to all the information. Now, with a simple mobile device, from any part of the world at any time, you can have access to any type of information instantly. Like, for example, the news, you can. And I'll take this example: when the conflict between Israel and Iran and the U.S. started being reported, you would receive live updates and notifications instantly on your phone, on your tablet, or on email, or on your desktop. So, in the same regard, from a sanctioning body, once we publish a ruling, automatically we post it on all social media. And we're currently developing an app. It's going to be called the WBO app, whereby anybody could download the app and you would receive notifications as to any of our rulings directly to your mobile device, tablet, whatever. So I think it's critical, and it's groundbreaking that through our New Era pitch, that's what we want to give: more brand awareness, more transparency, direct to consumer information, and I think it's we've gotten good feedback in that regard thus far.
No, absolutely. And it's just like what you kind of touched upon, just purely from my point of view as a fight fan and as a consumer, I myself like to kind of keep updated in terms of instant news, just in terms of kind of being up to date and up to awareness in terms of like latest events. For example, say potential ranking opportunities, to kind of like have that kind of opportunity to kind of see it simultaneously and instantly. That would be remarkable. So I'm a big fan of that potential avenue in terms of where you're going. So just in terms of the big news as of right now, there's a lot of talk about Devin Haney potentially challenging WBO champion at welterweight, Brian Norman Jr. Where is the WBO stance on in regards to that? As of right now, that would be one of the biggest fights at welterweight, 147 pounds as of right now. Devin Haney also being a former WBO lightweight champion, but currently unranked at 147 pounds. So what would be the potential stance of the WBO in regards to that?
Let me see. I just saw this morning reports that Haney and Brian Norman, there has been some back and forth on social media on a potential matchup between them. The WBO has no objection in that regard because Norman doesn't have a mandatory challenger at this time that has been designated. So he's still in his voluntary stage. And so once the committee determines that the mandatory is due, we would have to assess who are the top 15 contenders, and the highest available contender that satisfies with the required criteria for such designation will be conferred the mandatory challenger recognition status. But if that fight would take place, I'm sure that the ratings committee would have no objection in installing Haney in the 147 division top 15 rating.
Yeah, that'd be a phenomenal fight. And what would the viewpoint of the WBO be in regards to this potential fight? Like given Devin Haney's profile, given Brian Norman Jr.'s recent rise, what would be the viewpoint in regards to that?
Well, I have no particular viewpoint as to whether I think it's a great matchup. You got the boxer puncher against the slick boxer. Haney's a tremendous talent, always in good fights. He's been criticized recently as to not being so won't be the term engaging with his opponent, but remember he's an elite boxer, highly skilled, a good jab, good defensive skills, excellent lateral movements. So remember, boxing is the sweet science as they call it. Hit and don't get hit. That's the style, and you have to respect that. And I'm a purist. I love that type of matchup. The boxer against the boxer puncher against the puncher. So it's a clash of styles. I think their styles would mesh very good. So if that fight comes to fruition, the WBO wouldn't have any objection to it. So, but Brian Norman is a star on the rise, huge puncher. I like his swagger, his attitude, and he's getting better as on every outing. So certainly Haney's the more experienced boxer, coming up from lightweight, junior welterweight, and eventually if he moves to the welterweight division, I think Haney would also be fitted for the division because he's a big guy as well. But it's a great matchup.
No, it's brilliant to kind of obviously hear your outtake on it. Just rolling over into 2 weeks' time, we have WBO champion and unified champion Alexander Usyk set to rematch IBF champion Daniel Dubois, Wembley Stadium in the UK. How does the WBO kind of view that matchup in terms of legacy? Obviously, within that as well, you have interim champion Joseph Parker as well. So, just in terms of that landscape, how does the WBO kind of view that situation?
It's a great matchup. Usyk and Dubois, they're doing the rematch for the undisputed. The first fight was highly controversial as to whether the punch to the body was a low blow or an accidental foul. I think it's a great matchup. You got, again, the boxer, the highly skilled boxer in Usyk, up and down, left and right, switching southpaw, righty, southpaw. The more experienced boxer, Usyk certainly is the favorite. He won the first fight. But you never know in the heavyweights. Dubois is a big puncher. He's getting better in every time he fights. He's getting more confidence instilled in him as it relates to his performances. It's going to be in the UK, so that's Dubois' turf. But at the same time, Usyk is a role warrior. He he performs in every outing outside of Ukraine, even Ukraine, by the way. And looking forward to that fight. I'm gonna be attending that fight. That's a big fight in the UK.
Yeah, fantastic fight. Like, most definitely one of the biggest fights this year. And as I touched upon, so Joseph Parker, currently interim WBO heavyweight champion, will be mandatory for the winner of that fight. How soon can we expect him to be called in terms of facing the winner of that fight?
We will have to see. He's the mandatory at this time. Joe Parker, tremendous fighter and a gentleman, inside and outside the ring. He's the mandatory. We would have to see when will that mandatory be called, because remember, the committee always reserves its right when it sanctions a fight as to rendering any rulings that would benefit the best interest of boxing. So who knows if there's a trilogy, the committee would have to consider in the balance of interest whether a trilogy warrants to be approved instead of enforcing the mandatory as to Parker. And considering all the involved interests, the mandatory challenger enforcement, or whether the WBO Championship Committee would allow doing a trilogy if that scenario would arise. So at this time, it's too premature. We would have to wait first the outcome of the rematch to determine whether Joseph will enforce his right.
No, that's completely understandable. That's completely understandable. And staying within the heavyweight division as well, you have WBO number one ranked contender Moses Atoma, currently about to take on Dylan White, experienced contender also within that. How soon can we expect potentially Moses Atoma in terms of potentially challenging for a WBO title or within a final eliminator in some regard?
He's basically still number one. I think he's the best contender in the top 15, and he's the new blood. He's the new star in the rise in the heavyweight division. We would have to see, because right now we have the mandatory, which is Joseph Parker. But it's just a matter of time. He's being groomed, correctly and slowly by his promoter, which is the natural course of progression in a fighter of his status. He's just a very young guy. I think he's 21.
Recently just turned 21.
Yeah, 21. He's a young puppy, like we say here in Puerto Rico. So it's a matter of time. He'll get his shot eventually, but certainly he has to face rated opposition to become the mandatory. So I'm sure Frank Warren and Georgie Warren, these guys are veterans. They've been in the game for many years. They know the rules. They know how the WBO operates. But I would say that it's just a matter of time when we will see Dauma fight for a WBO World Championship.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And just going back down to 135 pounds, obviously the WBO recently ordered the vacant title between Abdullah Mason and Sam Noakes.
Yeah.
Great matchup in the division. Where are we at in terms of that fight? Obviously, we're still at a stage where both parties are negotiating. How soon could we expect purse bids called?
We have to wait until the 20-day window negotiation transpires. Once that period elapses, we would have to consult with the party as to whether they have reached an agreement. If not, the WBO will order purse bids. Right now, they're in the negotiation stage, I presume, and I'm very sure that they will likely reach an agreement. They've worked together. They have been partners in numerous business dealings and also co-promotional deals, Top Rank and Queensberry. So I don't foresee any issues in that regard.
No, 100%. And what do you think that the WBO can expect from this matchup? And what do you expect that it can bring to the division?
Well, certainly Mason is the guy at the lightweight division. He's been more exposed to better opposition than Sam Noakes. I haven't had the chance to see Sam Noakes, but certainly if he was I think he was number one or number two.
He's currently ranked number 2. Yeah,
so Noakes, if he's number 2, he's certainly merited for the title shot. And if he's signed to Queensberry, he has to have something, as we say. He's got to be a top, an elite fighter. So I foresee a great matchup. But I think Mason certainly is the goods. And hopefully Noakes can also perform at the level as he has performed in the past, as reported by other boxing pundits that have stated that also Noakes is a legitimate contender in the lightweight division. So let's see. It should be a great fight.
Of course. And just kind of touching upon former champion Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah.
I'm coming on to your most recent rankings. He wasn't ranked at 135 pounds. He wasn't ranked at 140 pounds either. What is the path for Keyshawn Davis within the WBO, and where does that kind of lie as of right now?
Well, we haven't received either from his team or his promotional outlet any petition to be installed at the junior welterweight division at the 140 pounds. He didn't make weight, unfortunately. He lost the championship. That's what the rules provide when a fighter doesn't make the prescribed weight limit. It was very unfortunate what happened with Keyshawn. I haven't talked to him or his team since the incidents on fight night. So thus far, we haven't heard from them since. So it's a matter of whenever he's ready and his team determines appropriate, they'll contact the WBO, and that decision will rest solely on the ratings committee. I'm the president, but I make recommendations to the committee. The committee's convened and they vote, and it's democracy. The majority wins.
No, absolutely, of course. And just kind of like final couple of questions in terms of closing now. So within that, we're seeing a lot of more global events across the world, especially in the Middle East, recently Africa as well, Asia. How is the WBO planning to expand its influence within those territories?
Well, remember, the WBO has over 90 affiliated countries around the world. We have vice presidents in Asia. We have vice presidents in Europe, Latin America, North America. We have members from Oceania region, in Africa as well, in all the continents of the world. Saudi Arabia has become now like the destination for world elite championship boxing. However, I think there's been a history element as to, for example, Las Vegas, New York, the United Kingdom, of destinations that have a background, a rich history with big boxing events. Like New York is considered the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden, whereas Las Vegas is considered like the destination for the casinos, the big events, the Mexican Day, Mexican Independence Day weekend fights, Canelo, all that stuff. So I think the more destinations that arise to provide opportunities for boxing, we should always welcome them, right? New destinations, new jurisdictions that would invest in the money, invest in the sport, and consequently the fighters benefit from such investment. So I'm all for it, man.
No, absolutely. And just final question from myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, I appreciate you're a busy man, of course. What's the one thing that you would like to see fans and fighters to know about the WBO in 2025? And what's kind of one ambition that you'd like to see the sanctioning body move forward to?
So precisely today, I tweeted on my X account. We're on this Saturday. We are officially launching our new program called WBO Gives Back, which is a program to educate, empower, and incentivize directly the fighters. We can't simply just award titles and confer distinction. That's cool. But we need, in order to change the paradigm as to what a sanctioning body does, beyond a regulatory standpoint in awarding titles and rating fighters and helping gyms, which is all cool and beneficial, but we need to do more for the fighters directly. In a sense, for example, if a fighter questions why do I have to pay a percentage to fight for the title, well, my counter argument would say, well, beyond covering operational expenses and other charity efforts that we do on a yearly basis, we're giving you these benefits directly: financial literacy program, legal advice program, acquisition of a first property, how to use properly social media to promote your brand as a fighter, or generate other revenue streams, how to conduct yourself in a professional manner before the media. That is also taught. Different formats. So this Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Puerto Rico, we're doing the first part of the program, which is a financial literacy conference, and we're going to have testimonials from former WBO world champions, Hall of Famers, explaining to the fighters the importance of managing a budget. That fighters are professional service providers, that they need to pay their Social Security, that they need to know what are their deductions, savings, checkings account, etc. So the WBO becomes a provider of those tools, so the fighters can properly be informed and make informed decisions as to when the time comes to they transition to their retirement. And this is pertinent to the financial part. They are set for life, or at least live and be sustainable and not become a burden to them, to their family members, or society.
No, absolutely. And by my account, I'll definitely be tuning in and staying updated in regards to that. I think that's a remarkable aspect and foundation that you're doing within the WBO, and I can only commend that within myself. Mr. Olivieri, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor.
It's my pleasure. Okay, my man.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully, we can catch up again very soon.
Okay, my man. Take care. All the best to you. Okay.
Take care now.
You too. My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.